Have you ever stopped to think if, even today, God still works miracles, the kind that make us doubt what is possible and what is not? Imagine yourself for a moment inside an old church, with walls that have seen centuries of stories, full of people with open hearts, seeking forgiveness, seeking comfort and, who knows, waiting for a divine touch that can change their lives forever. It was precisely on a seemingly ordinary night, on the small and peaceful island of Jersey, in the English Channel, that something truly unbelievable happened. A Mass, which at first was just another celebration, became the stage for an event so supernatural and powerful that, to this day, the island's residents cannot forget what their own eyes witnessed and their hearts felt. It is a story of faith, devotion, and, above all, the transformative power of forgiveness. Are you curious to know what was so extraordinary that happened? Before we dive into the details of this moving story, I want to ask you something very important. Write in the comments the names of those people you know who need a special prayer, whether for health, peace, or any other urgent need. We will gather all of these names and make a very powerful main prayer, with the rosary, at the end of this video, asking God and Our Lady for each of them. St. Mary's Church, in the heart of the island of Jersey, has always been a haven of peace. Built back in the 17th century, this church has withstood many storms, wars that shook the world and countless challenges, remaining standing as a true beacon of hope for the community. For generations, both locals and visitors who came to the island sought refuge there, finding solace in its simple but welcoming architecture and in its altar, which was dedicated with great affection to Our Lady and Jesus Christ. It was a place where weary souls found rest and where faith was renewed with each prayer. However, on that special night, during a celebration that had as its theme reconciliation and forgiveness, the usual atmosphere of the church took on a new meaning, and everything that was known about that place changed forever, leaving a profound and unforgettable mark on the history of the island. The night chosen for this significant Mass was a Saturday, a day when many families usually get together and seek a moment of spiritual reflection, and the central theme was, in fact, forgiveness, a theme that touches us all deeply, because who has never needed to forgive or be forgiven? Hundreds of people filled every corner of the temple, with open hearts and a sincere motivation. The search for healing from old wounds, the desire to forgive people close to them who had somehow caused them pain, or simply the desire to achieve a deeper and truer connection with God. At the altar, Father Peter, a priest who was the image of humility and much loved by the entire community, began the ceremony. He reminded everyone with his calm and welcoming voice of Jesus' words about the importance of forgiving not just once, but 70 times 7 times, emphasizing that forgiveness is not a single act, but a continuous journey, and that it is the first and most essential step so that divine miracles can manifest in our lives, opening our hearts to God's grace. As Father Peter continued his homily, explaining with clarity and emotion the immense power of forgiveness, a subtle but increasingly noticeable event began to unfold in the church. A soft, sweet fragrance, like the purest perfume of freshly picked roses, began to spread throughout the room. At first it was barely perceptible, like a passing breeze carrying a distant scent, but it soon became impossible to ignore. People, curious and somewhat confused, began to look at each other, their faces showing the same silent question. Where is this perfume coming from? It was an aroma so real and enveloping that it seemed to fill every space. Soon after, the eyes of the faithful turned to the candles that were placed around the main altar. They began to waver in a strange way, their flames dancing and moving as if a mysterious breeze were present, even though all the doors and windows of the church were firmly closed, without any visible draft. It was then that the eyes, already perplexed by the perfume and the candles, noticed something even more extraordinary. something that made the air in the church seem to freeze in expectation. A delicate light, but with increasing intensity, began to softly illuminate the statue of Our Lady, which was positioned in a prominent place near the main altar. The light grew gradually, not like a spotlight of artificial light, but like a celestial glow that gradually intensified, becoming so vivid and radiant that it instantly attracted the gaze of every person present in the church. A deep silence took over the place, and many began to cry, tears of emotion and astonishment streaming down their faces. Almost by a deep instinct, people began to kneel in the pews, for the perception was clear. They were, in fact, witnessing something supernatural, a divine manifestation right there before their eyes. The statue's face seemed to come to life, radiating indescribable tenderness and peace, as if it were the mother of Jesus herself confirming, with a gesture of unconditional love, every word that Father Peter had just spoken about the importance of forgiveness and reconciliation. In the midst of that moment of pure emotion and reverence, Maria, an elderly woman who was much loved by everyone in the community, known for her kindness and unwavering faith, slowly rose from her pew, her eyes brimming with tears, and began to testify, in a voice choked with emotion, that she had felt a profound liberation at that moment, something that freed her from a burden she had carried for decades. She stated, with a conviction that touched everyone, that she had definitively forgiven a person who had hurt her deeply more than 30 years ago, a pain that she thought would never go away. This sincere and moving testimony from Maria was only the first of many. Quickly, other people in the church began to feel and share similar liberations. Out loud, with a light soul, they revealed how the weight of the hurts, sadness and resentments they had carried for years disappeared immediately, as if it had been torn from their hearts immediately after the supernatural manifestation of Our Lady, leaving an empty space for peace and love. And as if the emotional and spiritual healings were not enough miracles to witness, another shocking and glorious event unfolded before everyone's eyes. A young man, known as Samuel, who lived in the community and had suffered from serious physical problems since childhood, facing great difficulty in moving around and depending on support to move, claimed to have felt an unusual strength, an energy he had never felt before, taking over his body as he prayed with all his faith in front of the illuminated image of Our Lady. To the general surprise of everyone present, and completely unexpectedly, Samuel rose from his chair with a certainty and firmness that no one had ever expected, his previously unsteady steps now firmly on the ground. With a smile of pure joy and disbelief on his face, he exclaimed, his voice choked with emotion, that he felt Jesus had touched his legs, miraculously healing him of all his ills. The entire church was moved with emotion and amazement at such a surprising event, with applause and tears of joy filling the room, as a living testimony to the power of God. Father Peter, visibly moved and deeply touched by everything that had happened, resumed his speech with a voice full of reverence. He declared that the miracles that everyone had witnessed there at that moment were not just isolated phenomena or coincidences, but rather a clear and powerful confirmation of the central message of that blessed evening. Forgiveness is, in fact, the purest and most effective way to free the heart from all burdens and open the door so that God, in His infinite goodness, can perform wonders in our lives. The priest, with a gleam of hope in his eyes, asked everyone present to embrace this unique and transforming experience as a divine invitation. An invitation to not only receive forgiveness and healing, but also to spread love, compassion and, above all, forgiveness in their own families, in their communities and beyond, transforming every life they touch with the same grace they have received. This story of the miracle in the Church of Jersey makes us think about our own lives, doesn't it? Just like Mary and Samuel, who found deliverance and healing that day, we too face our daily challenges, our hurts and our pains. The message of this blessed evening is a powerful reminder that daily prayer is not just a ritual, but a constant dialogue with God that strengthens our faith and prepares us to receive His miracles. The preaching, which Father Peter exemplified so well, should inspire us to seek forgiveness in our relationships, to forgive 70 times 7 times, not holding grudges that make our souls sick. When we forgive, we not only free others, but mainly ourselves, finding true peace in our hearts. And by witnessing these wonders, we are invited to have more faith, to believe that God is still at work, and to open ourselves to more conversions, so that our hearts may be transformed and filled with His grace. Let us reflect on this, and if this message touched your heart and you remembered someone who really needs prayer, write their name here in the comments. We will continue adding all these names to our main prayer with the Rosary, praying for each one of them. This story of the Jersey miracle, which fills us with faith and hope, has immense power, doesn't it? It is an invitation for each one of us to reflect on the importance of forgiveness in our lives and on the constant presence of God. What did you think of this powerful story? Did it make you believe even more in the power of faith and forgiveness? Leave your opinion on the subject, your reflections, and if you have ever witnessed something that you consider a miracle in your life in the comments. I would love to read your experiences. And if this story touched you and warmed your heart, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories and messages of faith. Share this video with those who need to hear this message of hope. Together, let's build a chain of faith, love, and compassion that can transform many lives. God bless you.